So hi, and welcome to this second window in the Christmas calendar from Dandy People. And with me today, I have both Frank Olsen and Elinor Lange, who together with me created the post. So we're going to talk about the funding model, which you can see behind me here. And it's a extremely complex, but yet quite simple topic, I think. Interesting for most organizations. And we're going to cover maybe a couple of perspectives because it could look a little bit different in different organizations. So Frank, would you like to share maybe one perspective?
Yeah, I guess most of us have been in organizations where we have a yearly budget cycle. So at the beginning or the end of the year, we have to guess what's going to happen for the next year. So we apply for funding for the next year. So maybe 18 months in advance, we have to guess what will happen. What kind of things do we need? What kind of projects should we start? What kind of things should we ask the people in the organization to do? Do we need to hire more people, or do we have too many people for whatever we get funding for? So we have to make a hopefully educated guess way ahead of time.
Elinor.
Yeah, we see that in most organizations, and it's interesting that it's actually guesses. And later on in the year, the budget runs out, or if you have any changes to the budget, it's full. So you have everything actually boxed in upfront.
So if somebody gets a good idea, or if something happens, some changes in the market, you have a problem because you have to wait for the next round of funding.
And it looks like it's connected to a process, a project process model here as well, as we have in the picture, which is waterfall way of working, right? Where usually you have the different stages in the project. Usually that's also connected to budgeting and follow-up, as you can say, oh, now we're in this phase and we're moving on.
And there's also organizations that at the end of the year, you have to spend the money if you haven't, because then otherwise you won't get as much money next year. So it's really a behavior of this.
And those controlling the budgets, they will need to know if you're actually delivering on your promises. So upfront, you have to promise that at this point in time, we're going to deliver this, and at that point in time, we're going to deliver that. And then the only follow-up is like, did you actually do what you promised to do 18 months ago?
And moving towards the other side here, where we can kind of separate the budget for the people and put them in teams instead, and then have incremental budgeting on what they actually work on, which could mean they work on this project or they work on something else, and they could get maybe continuous feedback on what they're doing. So maybe disconnect the idea and the solution of the problem that we're solving, which then works well for more complex tech, AI, more product-oriented solutions, so to say. There's also this other version where you might have incoming projects, but the budget wouldn't be there until we can actually start on that, which means maybe the people working on the product, maybe you're a CPO or something, you have maybe 5 teams or so, 50 people, let's say. But since my big project haven't started yet, I don't have the budget to keep those people. So I might lose them over 3 months or 6 months until I get the new funding, which then leads us to another of the windows we have, which is knowledge retention, right? So this might mean that every year or every now and then when our projects are over, we lose all the people that we've trained, that we brought into the organization, which might take 6 months just to get up to speed again with new people. So this, of course, is caused by the budgeting model over here, where we just either have money or don't have money. So when you do that, it's really hard to be strategically responsible for a product, because I can't maintain, I can't be strategic, I can't work with the product if I don't have a project to deliver on. So this is a big problem I see for many large organizations today, in Sweden at least.
And the crux is that it's actually not very difficult to solve. So instead of funding projects, you would just fund stable teams and then decide what the team should be doing.
Yeah.
And there's a whole movement around this called beyond budgeting, which is another story.
And it's not difficult at all. It's actually much easier, and it lowers the administrational work in the organization, so you can actually focus on delivering value to your customers much better. Spend more time on that instead of the administration. Yeah, Elinor, did you have any?
Yeah, just add on to the stable team. So funding the teams is one thing, and then of course there can be work items that should come with a budget, because you need to buy new stuff, new hardware, new whatever. You need to get in new knowledge. So, but that comes with the kind of work item you take into the team.
And you get the added benefit of flexibility, because you don't have to decide 18 months up front what the organization should do. You can wait, and you can have a kind of an iterative cycle every month or so, where you say, now we're going to decide what's next, what is the most important things for our organization to work on. Is it customer X or C, or product A or product B?
I helped one of the big banks here in Sweden, I think maybe like 7 or 8 years ago, to start their first cross-functional team. And this was they asked to get funding for one team for a year. That was one way of starting this movement. And once they saw that this team that worked as a team could actually deliver so much more value, so much faster, because they could do proper product development with build, measure, learn, and test with real customers and fix problems, which meant no one had to come up with what they needed to do, but the team could do that themselves. And just after a few months, people started to come with their budgets. Could we please give our budget to you instead? Because you're much faster than the project organization. So it was maybe not, it wasn't a big fix, but it actually moved the whole organization towards becoming more agile in just showing what one team can do. And we helped one other organization having a 3-hour meeting or something with people from high up, of course, showing how modern product development works, what we do, and how we actually do things, so they can understand. And then the same thing, we asked if we could get funding for the teams in that development organization, which was around, 60 people or something. Could we please try that for a year? So we did an experiment, and they haven't gone back. So sure, fine, that's another way of doing it. We can do it like that. So could be maybe do one experiment, or show how you do the work and what difference it would make, and maybe use these videos and show this is a different approach, but it could be done just as easily, or maybe more easily.
Yeah, I think the first step is what I feel is often hardest, but that is because they feel, okay, it's quite expensive with a team if it's run rate for a longer period of time. But that is often because you misunderstand what a team can do. So yes, if you're used to projects where people only work within the phase where you have the expertise, and now we instead say that they all work together, they are so much more efficient. So if you compare, you need to compare with a whole project, and it's it's a shorter lead time. So it's always the first hinder is to create one team and see that it works.
So just showcase what one team can do, and you can probably get people to actually understand the value and then move towards a product-oriented funding. So thank you, guys. Hope to see you on the next window, or in the next window.
So, bye-bye.
Bye for now.